Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Motor City Mad Mouth and Marvin on the Mic show. Now we have Candy's going to be sitting in probably the whole show because I like to have her voice in there. And of course, Marvin and I, we know how to jab at each other, right, Marvin?
Absolutely.
I like jabbing with you, Marvin. I'm telling you, I have to get some of that extra energy out. So with that said, we have a pretty good set of storylines we're going to talk about, and we're going to go to our first non-sports topic first, okay? And that's it. Miami Beach's free water taxi service became permanent in January between Miami Beach, Morris Memorial Gib Club, and downtown Venetian Marina and Yacht Club. It runs every 60 minutes. I'll tell you one thing, for those people that have ever driven in Miami, what do you think of the idea of having a free, and actually a water taxi service, Marvin?
Well, the word "free" always turns into a red flag for me. So does this mean taxpayers are paying for it? I don't know, but I tell you what, it's a cool thing, man. It is because I lived in South Florida for 15 years, loved it, spent a lot of time in Miami, on Miami Beach, and doing all that stuff. And it's expensive. It is so expensive. So anything that's done, any kind of transportation help that the city, county, state can provide, that's amazing. Especially down in the 305. So I love it. They're going to be busy. People will take advantage. So many tourists out there and just beach people and people who live on the beach and participate in that whole beach culture, that nightlife culture, that Miami culture. That's a great idea, man. People are going to be happy. And next time I come down there, I may have to check it out myself.
Well, good. So, in other words, that was a good FYI for you to know that you can get on the water taxi service, right, Marvin?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, see,
I'm happy about it.
Listen, we're in the business to educate and inform people. This guy just got an education. Okay. But I promise you one thing, Marvin, I won't be driving the boat. Otherwise, we're going to land someplace we don't want to land. And I'm not looking to be a great white shark's next meal. All right, Candy.
We've taken the water taxi. I've taken the water taxi in Fort Lauderdale a couple of different times. And I want to say there's like 7 or 8 different stops, which is nice because you park in one spot and then you hop on and off where if you're going to do a day shop, you can go shopping. You can get off at one of the food or bar establishments. The thing about especially downtown Miami, trying to find a place to park is hard. And then you're going to pay an arm and a leg to park. So this only encourages people to go down there, park once someplace, and be able to enjoy downtown Miami on and off in the different places that you can visit with this water taxi. I think it encourages tourism. It encourages people to maybe not drive as much. So maybe there's 1 or 2 fewer cars on the road because all of a sudden now maybe hopping to work, they can hop on the water taxi. I don't know, but it sounds like a really good idea, especially if you're going to be doing any bar hopping, because that means you are not driving anymore and somebody else is driving you to and from wherever. So I like it. I think it's a good idea. Yes, taxpayers probably have to pay, but I'd much rather see the taxpayers funding something like that than have a drunk driving, accident or drunk drivers out there instead. So I think it is a good idea.
Let's go to the chat room, Candy. Put those comments up. Nice to have this person in here. Hi, hello to you, user WC3. Same thing. How are you guys? We're doing really great. And we're also glad to have you in here as well. So very much. Thank you very much. We appreciate the participation. I think anytime you can reduce traffic in Miami, you do it, period. It means a water taxi. I have no problem with it. All right, well, we're going to move it around a lot today, people. The Pittsburgh Steelers are actually 1-6 after clinching a 500 record since 2023. Now, that includes a regular season, the postseason. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, did that trend continue against Baltimore when they went over 500? Well, I'll tell you what. I'll give you the answer right now, and then Marvin and Candy could comment on it. The Steelers won their regular season finale 26-24. All right, well, let's face it. You have no Mike Tomlin anymore, Marvin. Let's face it, you don't have him. And I know you
Right.
mentioned in other shows before that to me, they're gonna probably have their first losing season, or at least you think. Nobody, I think Mike Tomlin's going to go down as unappreciated. Okay, I really will, Marvin. But what are your thoughts about the fact that they were 1-6 after clinching a 500 record, and the fact that they ended up beating the Ravens there, so that you can just say now it's 2-6.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I would say when you look at the fact that Tomlin has 19 straight seasons having a winning season, the fact that they went 1-6 once they clinched 500, it's it's almost irrelevant. It comes down to what's the bottom line, and the bottom line is he had a winning season, but they didn't get to the playoffs and they didn't get a chance to compete for the championship, and that's the main thing. He had them obviously positioned to make the playoffs, and that's relevant. But yeah, you say he's unappreciated. He will become appreciated very soon here. I think the Steelers are headed for trouble if they don't get Aaron Rodgers, and they're not able to make certain moves in the offseason. I mean, the Steelers could be looking at a horrible season. And I mean that. And you're looking at, people in their division who are hungry. Cincinnati's hungry. Baltimore's hungry. Cleveland, has a new coach. They got a couple young quarterbacks. They're trying to figure out if they can make a move. So this is going to be tough for the Steelers. It really is. And, I think people got spoiled with 19 straight winning seasons. Whether it led to the playoffs or not, whether it went to a Super Bowl or not. The reality is, you went through a 4 or 5 month season, for the most part, feeling good on Sundays, as opposed to, Jet fans and Raider fans and, fans of these, horrible organizations who lose and lose and lose. Steelers, you guys are about to get your turn. I think the Let's ran out. And, I think the Steelers are about to realize, what it means to be a bad football team again. I'm not wishing it on them. I'm not. But I'm just looking at the division and just looking at what's around, and they don't look good.
What are you talking about? You're speaking the cotton picking truth, Powell. It is what it is. You have 19 straight winning seasons after a while. If you're under 500, and you can't be 500 anymore because you have a 17 game season, unless you have a tie. That's another story. You know what I'm saying? So, no, you're 100% right. What are you talking about? I mean, 8-9. Now, when you get the 18 game schedule, which is probably inevitable, right? Then it becomes
Absolutely.
a different animal. But no, I'm with you all the way. Our goal here, just so people understand, we like to entertain, but I'm an old school journalist, people. Okay, I dig for facts, and I'm a fact guy. And anybody that gives me a fact that I think is incorrect, I can read through it like a clear piece of plastic. So no, I think Mike Tomlin will go underappreciated, and I'm glad that this number increased to 2-6 because they did come up with a big win. For sure. So, all right, Candy, you're right on target, Powell. Good stuff.
Thank you.
So, how many teams in the league can say over the last 20 years or 19 years that they didn't have one losing season? How many teams in this league can say that? Like, for the Steelers to have gone, yes, I understand in today's day and age, winning the Super Bowl is it. That's the goal for every single team. But there are teams that have never made the Super Bowl. There have teams that don't have the consistency that the Steelers have had. Now they have a change in head coach, and we are unclear of who's going to be their quarterback. Is Aaron Rodgers going to come back for another season or not? They're saying that his decision should be sometime next month. We'll wait and see. Will it? And here's my question too. Even if Aaron Rodgers does come back, it's not the same team. It's not the same coach. He doesn't have the same coaches. Yes, there's talk that he is in good terms with Mike McCarthy.
All right.
But really, is he? Let's face it. McCarthy left Green Bay before Aaron did. And will they gel? Will they get the same consistency out of everybody? And who all will Mike hire too as other coaches? Because yes, we talk about the quarterback is really important, but obviously in Aaron Rodgers, he could play pretty much any place. But it's all the other position players and what their coaches do to help them play the game that matters as well. Probably more so when you're talking about a quarterback that's a seasoned Hall of Fame quarterback, without a doubt. So I think it'll be very interesting. And I agree with you, Scott. I think Tomlin is very underappreciated, and I think a lot of people were tired of him, tired of the fact that they didn't have a lot of success in the playoffs. That they wanted more, but results will be. We'll see what the results will be. Whether McCarthy can do, how well he can do this first year, depending on who he has as quarterback. And if he doesn't have Aaron Rodgers, I think it's going to be a horrible.
I saw Mike Tomlin win a Super Bowl in Tampa. James Harrison, I think he ran for 100 yards after that interception, or whatever else. That's surreal stuff. Now, with that said, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers have told Rodgers, we really like to know at the middle of March. And I think Aaron will be respectful to that organization, whether it's 15, 21. I don't know what the dates are. It doesn't really matter. But it's going to be before the draft, nonetheless. So we'll have a much better idea how we can gauge it now. And we could be reintroducing this topic again in 3 or 4 weeks, regardless of which show we put it on. I don't even know. All right, well, the NFL, we all know we have a lot of turnover, and at least 25% of the league was searching for a new head coach. Marvin, that's a heck of a turnover, man.
Yeah, that's a lot of NFL owners who don't know what the heck they're doing. You look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. You look at even the Chiefs. What they're doing with Reed. I mean, organizations that know what they're doing. They hire the right people. They have stability. They have continuity. They have a belief in their gut feelings. They trust their hiring process. They trust whatever their vision is. But a lot of these guys don't know what they're doing. These are business people who buy these NFL teams, but they're not football people. And that's
right.
There's a tremendous difference there, So now that they're hiring, general managers based upon, what some consultant said or whatever it may be. And it's just, when you get non-football people, non-sports people buying teams, I think this is, one of the results that can happen. They buy it as an investment because it's cool to do. And, you go through head coach after head coach after head coach. And again, just being a Jet fan, trust me, I've lived it. I see it. So, it's unfortunate. And what's even worse is these represent bad teams, back organizations who are going to get top draft picks. They're going to get the Fernando Mendozas and all these great young players. But these great young players are going to work for horrible organizations that lose repeatedly, who are always drafting in the top 5 for a reason. So a lot of turnover, a lot of guys who don't know what the heck they're doing. With that said, new opportunities. Unfortunately, none came to any black head coaches, which I think is odd in a league that's 75% African American. That when a third of the league has head coaching opportunities, none of these guys are men of color. It's just odd to me. I don't get how that's possible when you have so many black coaches who are coaching, who are assistants and GMs and analysts and everything else. How is this possible? So anyway, it's really unfortunate across the board. But a lot of turnover, man. A lot of organizations just trying to find a way.
Candy.
The NFL has become a win now league, and they want results now. And one of the things that we've talked about on other shows as well is that not all of your assistant coaches or offensive coordinators or defensive coordinators make good head coaches. And I think, although that's where a lot of the head coaching comes from, they don't always have success. And if they don't have success pretty quickly, a lot of these owners have quick hooks because they want to win now. And I think sometimes it depends on the coaching tree that you come from. We have seen some coaching trees that are very successful, and we've seen some coaching trees that are not very successful. The coordinator over at the Patriots, what's his name?
McDaniels.
McDaniels. he tried being a head coach, didn't work out, went back. He is an excellent offensive coordinator, but like I said, not all offensive or defensive coordinators make good head coaches, and yet that's typically where you get your head coaches from. And so knowing that it and the knowing that it's a win now league, they turn them over quicker. So I think we've seen in the last couple of years, I think the days of having the longevity that we have, the Andy Reeds, the even Mike Tomlin, Harbaugh in Baltimore for as many years, I think we're not going to see a lot more of those coaches with that longevity in the NFL in the future.
Well, here's what you're going to do. You're always going to have a high coaching carousel in the NFL because it's the impatient league. Owners want to see results right away. Everybody thinks when you go into the season that they have a great team until all of a sudden humility sets in by week 3, 4, and 5. What did they not do to build the roster properly? And all of a sudden the coaches are going to get the beating for it. How many times have you seen a guy finish 1-15 where unfortunately he walked into a bad situation that was worse than he anticipated? That happens. So they'll always be impatiently. That's why you're going to have high coaching turnover for sure. So get 2, 3 years, 4 years. It just depends on the situation, the general manager, and the owner. If you would have told me in Miami, okay, that Stephen Ross and his Miami Dolphins hadn't won a playoff game since 2000, let's get real here. What this guy done for the community is he's practically redone what was once called Joe Robbie Stadium, which is incredible. And he continues to be very generous to the local community and how he built around that stadium. 1 minute you got a tennis tournament. The next minute you got Formula One. It's just unbelievable stuff. But yet this guy gone through a lot of coaches. But that wasn't the case before he took ownership. That once upon a time, the Miami Dolphins only had 3 coaches in such a period of time. And now people are having a hard time adjusting to that. All right, we're going to go to another non-sports topic, and that being this, okay? In Norway, people. In Norway. God, I love these non-sports stuff, man. People hide their brooms on Christmas Eve so witches can't steal them. Marvin, my God, I just brought a witch into the show.
Yeah, listen, that's culture. I don't, growing up between LA and New York, I've had so many different kind of friends, and I've been around a lot of different kind of people who represent different cultures outside of American culture. And that's just culture, man. That's what they do. I get it. I'm certain that people look at us, and things that we may do that we don't even think about, that they think are silly. But, I'm assuming that that's not something that people, well, maybe they really do believe that. I mean, it's the witches are in the spirit world, just like God. I was thinking maybe it's more of like a fun thing, but I don't know. I can't speak to that. Never heard of it before in my life. I know people in Norway or in that area are happy. I know they live a long time. So if that's part of the process, man, maybe I should do the same thing. I don't know. But yeah, that's news to me, Scott. You are educating me today on our Norwegian culture, no doubt.
I have a lot of people say, you know what? I always have to learn from you because you always got something you're going to pull out of your pocket. By the way, I'll educate you another thing too. Norway, they're good at the Winter Olympics. I think they actually took the overall medal count too. So in the Winter Olympics.
Well, and let's also say that the U.S. did the best that they've ever done in the Winter Olympics. They had their best count as well. So let's not forget our own here. Okay.
No, I don't forget our own. But the bottom line is the United States is not going to go out there on Christmas Eve and hide their brooms.
No, they're getting drunk. Yeah, we getting drunk. Yeah,
exactly. You just made my point for me, Paul.
Yeah.
I know about the USA. Well, we'll be bringing it on another night, but we got to give our Norwegian friends because they are friends, and I enjoyed my time out there. My voice got raspy after 9 million videos in that beautiful part of the world. Well, then nowadays it gets raspy all the time, so who the heck cares, right? That's not making a difference. Oh, what can I do? Hey, Nexus Wolf, how you doing, my friend? Glad to have you back in the chat room. I like this guy. All right, I keep coming back. We want more of you, Nexus Wolf. Bring it on, baby. All right, Candy, what are your thoughts about Norway's culture about the brooms and the witches?
So the custom originates from ancient Scandinavian folklore, sometimes linked to the wild hunt, where supernatural beings were thought to fly during the 12 nights of Christmas. It's not universally practiced by all Norwegians today, but it is still observed by many as a fun, traditional, or superstitious nod to their heritage. In addition to hiding brooms, some traditions include shooting firearms or setting off fireworks to further scare away evil spirits. You
There
know,
you go.
I the one thing I will say is I think no matter where you come from and what your background is, that in today's day and age, a lot of us are losing a lot of our old traditions. And I think it's neat when we hear and learn of different cultures and different traditions, and that we honor their traditions.
And be careful with that, Candy. I'll be honest with you. I don't think right now there are a lot of Americans who would say the opposite. They would say that no, we don't look at other people's traditions at all and care about that. It's America, America first, American way. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. I mean, this is. I mean, right now, the current political climate, right now, where we stand, I think you have a lot of people who are looking at what's happening across the nation, especially following the president's State of the Union about immigration and stuff, and just our whole attitude toward culture. I think that we're losing our openness. To be honest with you, I think we're losing our ability to look at other culture and embrace it or appreciate it.
I think we are too, but I think we need to get back to that. We need to get back to respecting others. And I will say this, when we invite people into our country, they need to respect our traditions as well as, they don't have to, I'm not saying they have to participate in our traditions, but they have to respect them. Like we should respect what they do as long as it's not harmful to anybody.
Hey, Marvin, can I ask you a question?
You always do.
Good. Well, good. I'm glad you respect that way I do things. Because I know you've never done it anyways. Let me tell you something, pal. During COVID-19, and I was covering the violence, they had two ways that they were asking questions, okay? You had the Americans, those that could speak English, and those that speak Spanish. The biggest mistake was I never learned how to speak Spanish because I was missing out on some good hay on the Spanish side. How you think I could drop my haymakers on the Spanish side? They got to ask questions we wouldn't even think about because they had translators in Spanish. That's what it was the Miami Marlins, okay? You follow me?
Yes.
So I had my limited ability to ask questions on the American side. Is this culture? Well, let me tell you, these players in the United States, pal, is what they are. You follow me? So, but they still should learn a little bit more English. Me, I'm just some stupid SOB out there who's just trying to figure out. I know I got to interpret theirs right, but I got to make sure my ones are hitting on all cylinders. So I don't know about culture, pal, but I tell you what, you sit in a Zoom call until you got a bilingual side and a straight American side, and then we'll talk about the witches and the brooms and the culture. Then we got a different animal here, pal. This is professional, Marvin. You understand? It is professional. And I never, I only dated one Latin, and the only one of the few words I got called was stupido. You know what I mean? That's called stupid. And that's, I don't know much foreign language I even know. But when it comes to sitting in one of those bad boys, I really did feel stupid. So, all right, just saying, I don't know. What do I know about culture? All I know is I'm just coming up and researching some interesting facts that you can get on shows like this that every person in the world wouldn't even think of being insane enough to tell it. I'm insane. Figure it out. Well, you've known it for a while. She has for a lot longer while. All right, I'll tell you what, who's even more insane than I am, though. It's a guy by the name of Ben Simmons. Oh, Uncle Ben. How did you get back on my show again? I'll tell you how. Because he's putting the NBA on hold to pursue pro fishing. Pro fishing, people. He's putting the NBA, he stole from the NBA to get all that money for not performing. He gave every dinky excuse here not to play. I wish him well in pro fishing, and I hope I never see you wearing cleats or sneakers on a basketball court, because Ben Simmons is a big first class fraud, and I hate frauds. All right, some thoughts about Ben Simmons, Marvin.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. The reality is this guy was paid all that money. I mean, he's really one of the worst examples of guys getting paid and just doing nothing and shutting it down. You hear about that a lot. You don't know a man until he has some money. Does he continue to work and strive to be great and go through the process, or does he slack up and take it easy? And man, and this dude got paid hundreds of millions of dollars, and he refused to shoot the basketball. He refused to put the ball up. I mean, he refused to do certain things in the game, and it's just really unfortunate. It's the reality is this: for as much as you fear this and you hear about this and people talk about these kind of scenarios, they don't happen like that. Ben Simmons is almost an anomaly when you think about it. I mean, you can't even think of. It would be hard to think of 2 or 3 other guys that did the same thing in the last 20, 30 years. It's tough because this is such a horrible example of getting paid and then just completely shutting down. So I think it's a bad look for kids. It's a bad look for the game. I think in a day and age where people are really struggling financially, I think it's hard to look at a guy who's made $200, $300, $400 million and really just took his foot off the gas completely. And you're right, Scott. There are people who look at this as if he stole from the NBA, and I get that. I do. Now, I don't know him personally. I don't know what he's going through. I don't know, what his process has been. At the end of the day, he didn't break any rules, didn't break any laws. But in the eyes of sports fans whose teams are like family, you broke the code, man. We gave you the money. You didn't show up for us. So, yeah, it's a tough story. I wish him the best in his life. I hope that he, invests his money and just finds happiness. But yeah, his NBA career is one in which I'm sure he's proud of, but fans have a lot to say.
Candy?
He's only 29 years old. Man.
He's a rich fraud.
He is. For so many kids, their dream is to play the sport that they love. But for him to then just quit and stop playing, sad. I mean, I don't, he should pursue whatever his dream is. And if his dream has changed from NBA to now fishing, by all means, go right ahead. But just sad because he had so much promise coming out and honestly, he's a 3-time NBA All-Star. He was Rookie of the Year back in 2018. He was NBA Steals leader in 2020. He has a number of different little accolades on his record. But sad to see how his career ended in the NBA, as Scott, you affectionately call it, the National Drama League. He's one of those national drama that's forced you to call it that.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean, when you talk about the NBA, I always look at load management and then stuff like this. Mm-hmm. National Drama League people. Nobody out there will probably have it. I could trademark it if I want, but I'm not spending a few grand to do it. So forget it. I'm too cheap. I have other things I want to do. But the bottom line is good riddance, Ben. All right, but from one good riddance to a good story, and that's the story about Cooper Kupp. The Rams actually urged him to retire before the Rams cut ties with Cooper Kupp. They urged him to retire, and then they actually, get this, because this is really interesting about Cooper Kupp, caution other teams, and this is when we talk about other teams, right, to not pay them more than the veterans minimum in free agency due to injuries and perceived decline in production. Well, Marvin, who got the last laugh in this deal?
Scott, I missed the first part of that. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem.
Thank you.
I'll repeat it. Okay.
Yeah.
The Rams urged Cooper Kupp to retire. Okay, I'm going to go over it slow. I want everybody out here to get through. Before the Rams cut ties with the wide receiver Cooper Kupp, they reportedly urged to retire and caution other teams. Caution other teams, okay, to not pay him more than the veterans minimum in free agency due to injuries and his perceived decline in production. Who got the last laugh, Marvin?
That's just a pure example of how hateful and ungrateful an NFL organization can be. That this
Right.
player played his heart out for you, was a fan favorite, was a guy who came out of Eastern Washington out of nowhere, became an NFL star, multiple years, was outstanding, great attitude, great interviews, great for the game. And you go badmouth him to other teams so that he can't get an opportunity to make some money. And then, of course, like karma, he goes out there and wins a Super Bowl, and he ultimately has the last laugh. But it's just, that is, that's something that I hope fans look at. Because, in situations where players want more money, bigger contract, whatever, the fans get so mad at the player, and their loyalty is to the team. You know what I mean? But in this situation, you see a perfect example, as to how an NFL team can act toward a player. Just the negativity and the hate and how you're trying to mess up his business opportunities. That is horrific, So I hate to hear that. To be honest with you, I don't doubt it. I think that's just them realizing that this guy probably had gas in the tank. You don't know what was happening between him and the Rams organization. Him not wanting to resign or whatever it may be. So really bad on their part. Karma's a B. Happy for Cooper Kupp again. Really class act. You've never heard drama or negativity from him, from my perspective at least. And I'm happy that he was able to get him a Super Bowl title this year.
Well, keep in mind too, Marvin. After the game, Matthew Stafford walked up to him and he says, "Go out there and win the Super Bowl." Because Matthew Stafford's about right and wrong.
But that's the player saying, of course. That's what you do.
I know.
That's not the organization, though.
No, I know. Let me finish my point. Okay.
Yeah.
We already know that the organization made a mistake. They didn't think much of it, but at least Matthew Stafford did. And that's just because obviously he was a great target with him and helped him win a Super Bowl, for crying out loud, right? So, I'm with you all the way, Marvin. I'm just making a point that at least Matthew Stafford appreciated what the guy did. So go out there and win a Super Bowl. What happened? He won a Super Bowl, right? Worked out well.
Yeah, it doesn't shock me. Stafford's also a class guy. He's really grown on me in his career. I like Matt too.
I've always loved Matt Stafford. I'm glad he got a Super Bowl. Jared Goff has done a good job, though, in Detroit. Mind you, you could have talked about a trade that worked out for both sides. That one did. But Matthew Stafford's done a great job at the Rams. But Cooper Kupp made out pretty well. Listen, this guy got 2 Super Bowl rings. He's called a hidden gem.
Yeah.
Over the next several weeks, what we're going to have on some of our shows is we're going to have clips, okay, from what I did at the Senior Bowl. Okay. And you're going to find some prospects. Some of these interviews may last 3 or 4 minutes. So it gives me 3 or 4 minutes of talking, right? So other people can formulate their own opinions. But this is how these stories are generated. And when you see these people that you're watching, people here across the network right now, then you realize not only do we work our tail off in the studio, but I'm going to tell you right now, what we do in the field is important too. So I think that's important as well. Go ahead, Candy. Great story with Cooper Kupp.
On February 3rd, 2025, Kupp announced that the Rams front office informed him that he was not in their future plans for the team and that they intended to trade him in the 2025 offseason. Well, if you intended to trade him, but you badmouth him to other teams, how are you going to trade him? That just is wrong. The Rams could not find a trade partner. Oh, surprise, surprise. Which ultimately led to his release from the team on March 12th. Kupp got the last word. Not only did he get a 3-year, $45 million contract, he just won another Super Bowl.
Right.
Way to stick it to the Rams. I'm sorry. Any player that has played for you and played well, that you've given other contracts to and you've kept him around for how long, he deserves the respect. We were just talking about the last topic about respect. Until you do something to be out of favor and not have the respect, I don't care if I understand a team has to decide who they want on the field and who they're not going to have on the field. Whether they think you're too old, you're too injury prone. But that is not for you to tell other teams. Let other teams decide that. He has been a good player for you for how long? If other teams want him, don't badmouth him. And I'm so happy that he went and someone took a chance on a guy that is now a two-time Super Bowl champion. He's won all kinds of different accolades before. I'm glad for Cooper because he deserved more from LA. I understand if they didn't want to renew his contract, if they didn't want him back, I get that. Every team has to make a choice. The Packers have moved on. People thought we shouldn't have traded Aaron Rodgers. People thought we shouldn't have Brett Favre, and it goes on and on. There's numerous, but a team has to make a decision where their future is going to be, and when's the right time to draft the next man up. But don't discredit the person that has given you their time, and I get it. He's an employee, but he did well for you. And yes, maybe he didn't. How should I put it? He didn't accomplish all of your expectations for him. But then let another team take a chance. Let them.
Well, here, let me step in here, Candy. Number one, I think this is very safe to say. Diminish the guy's trade value, okay? Shame on you to begin with. How are you going to trade him if you're going to diminish his trade value by doing what you just did?
Right.
To me, that's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, right?
Yep.
What kind of value you think you're going to get? Let him go for bingo.
Go ahead, Scott.
Oh, no. I mean, what do you want to add to it, Marvin? I have a problem. I think
I was just going to say it's and you hear about these NFL owners colluding, and people act like they don't do that, and that's not possible, and they don't do the buddy and have the behind the closed doors conversation. I mean, this is normal, man. This is what they do. They've been doing this since the beginning of the league in the 70s. It is the NFL versus the NFL players. That is what it is, man. They are at war constantly. The NFL is no different than any other corporation who treats the employees small and tries to do them wrong when they can. It's just this is normal business in the NFL, y'all. It really is.
All right. Good point. Well, I think we covered the topic pretty thoroughly. Hey, got it. Who had the last laugh? Cooper Kupp, people. He did well. Got a championship ring and earned a little sense of vindication for his exit in Hollywood. And being up in Seattle isn't the worst thing you could do, right? Because Seattle's a great city if you haven't been there. Final topic of the night, which happens to be our featured topic of the night. The Falcons and veteran quarterback Kirk Cousins have reworked the final 2 years of his contract, opening the door for a potential release removed by March 13th. Okay, so the question is, and we're going to, because we do have another show at the top of the hour, Marvin, where do you think Cousins is going to land?
Minnesota, going back to Minnesota to go beat Candy's Packers with the best receiving duo probably in NFL with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Listen, the Vikes are good. They got a squad. They can compete. They got offensive power. Kirk is back from his injury. He should be okay. I mean, that thing could be a plug and play and wild card run. Here we come. That's realistic. So that makes sense. I can see him going back to Minnesota. Please don't go to the Jets. Unless they're going to be really super cheap.
That's funny. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, Candy.
I can see your point, Marvin, but I don't know. Like, Minnesota Vikings have obviously said J.J. McCarthy is their quarterback. They proved it last year by letting Sam walk. Now, obviously, they made a mistake, but I don't know that I'm not sure I know where I see him. I see him. I mean, he's made a boatload of money. I had seen something on social media where he's made like close to what some of the other big name quarterbacks have made. I wish I had saved that screenshot. But where do I see him? I'm not sure. I'm not. He could be a Jet. You never know, there, Marvin.
They would do that. They would do something stupid like that, and give him good money too.
Well, hey, don't discount one factor, Marvin, and that's since you got Frank right there, so maybe he can get him straightened out.
Yeah,
Frank,
and don't get me wrong.
Earl says Arizona,
and I think he has some gas in the tank, but the Jets need to focus on the future. He ain't it. Again, if he wants to come as a bridge quarterback, cheap, fine. But other than that, send him to Minnesota, because I don't think JJ McCarthy is the real deal. I'm starting to lose hope in this kid.
Okay. Well, I'll give you my prediction. You know what that is? Minnesota is the most obvious darn choice on the planet. Yeah, I know we talked about Sam Darnold letting him get away. Cousins got away. And after what you dealt with last year, you think Carson Wentz is going to make a big difference after coming off injuries? I doubt it. There you go. That does it for this edition of the Motor City Mad Mouth and Marvin on the Mic show. But before we leave here, Candy, you want to Marvin, let everybody know how they get a hold of you.
Yeah, you can catch me on social media. Marvin on the Mic, Marvin Now the Third. You can catch me with the South Florida Tribune, 5 shows a week. You can catch me on Locked On USC now 2 or 3 times a week.
Okay. On what? 2 to 3 times a week?
Locked On USC. I've been doing twice a week. Now we're moving it up a little bit. Getting a little more action.
Can you say that your goal is to be a play-by-play announcer one day?
My goal is to ultimately be the voice of USC football. But with that said, I'd like to have a strong presence within NFL and college, and that's what I'm building toward.
Good. Always good to have goals. And the one policy I have when you come on my network, you better have goals. And I'll tell you why. I like to bring people in here, and then when they ultimately leave me, they end up getting better, more paying jobs. And if they end up getting a better paying job, it means as a mentor or teacher of sorts, it makes me feel good inside because somebody gave me a chance. Marvin, don't you ever forget that. Fair enough? Because I want people to advance in the system. And in my book, Lessons from the Microphone, which Candy's about to bring up in a moment, I would talk about some of the people that have come through my system that have done pretty well. So if you haven't seen it yet, Marvin, when you get a spare moment, you might want to check that out in the books. I think you have one, right? I sent it to you. It's in there. Okay, go ahead, Candy. Take us home.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth, talks about his 40-plus years in the industry and how it has evolved, old school media versus new school media. Get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. It's also available in audio version, wherever you get your audio book. There's a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where we have a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. If you have show ideas or topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Last but not least, if you see the red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, that means you have not yet subscribed to us. What are you waiting for? Just click it, like us, share us, and then turn on your notifications so you're notified every time we go live. Thanks, Scott. Back to you.
All right, coming up around 9 o'clock or so, we're going to have the Sports Exchange with myself, Candy, and Marvin, and a couple of other people. Want to know who they are? Do that on the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. Okay, we'll have some. I like to bring in fresh faces to keep it real. I know there's a lot of people looking to come on shows, and yours truly loves to give everybody as many opportunities as he can. So with that said, that does it for this edition of the Motor City Madmouth and Marvin on the Mic show. I look forward to seeing you again soon. In the meantime, Sports Exchange is coming up in a matter of minutes. Hope you can join us for the second part of our doubleheader. Thank you very much, everybody. See you in a bit.